Hey, welcome back to my hillbilly weather station here. Buddy, we got a ton of stuff going on today. We've got a potential major southern slider snowstorm. We've got one model showing a possibly insanely strong nor'easter, possibly. We'll talk about that here in a second. We've got rain, we've got snow, we got a little bit of everything. But before we can talk about the future, we got to talk about the present. You know, we got to look at the radar. Here it is, a big old view of the United States of America. And just looking at the whole thing, you can tell there's not a lot going on right now. We've got a couple areas of precipitation. We got some showers near Wilmington, North Carolina. Those will be out of here by the time this video goes up. We've got some light rain and snow showers in the higher elevations of West Virginia. This is associated with that clipper that we were talking about yesterday. Now here in Colorado, Wyoming, South Dakota, and North Dakota, this is our energy that's building up that's going to cause our southern slider, possibly major winter storm. It's going to really impact areas in North Carolina and the mountains of Virginia. And if we go a little bit further west into Oregon and Washington, we've just got some really heavy rain and some heavy snow showers in the higher elevations. This is just energy coming off the Pacific Ocean. Once it brushes on those mountains and wrings out all the moisture, that'll pretty much dissipate. Now we can talk about the future. Let's look at the model, shall we? All right, we always start off with the Euro because that's my favorite one to look at. Now this is the one later on, a couple frames out. I'll show you here in a second. It blows my mind. Let's take it one storm at a time. Here's our current energy that's going to move south and pretty much make our southern slider system. That's going to put down a pretty hefty amount of snow in these areas right here. Anyways, let's put this into motion and watch what happens. Hey bulls, here's our energy moving across the mountains. It's going to converge with that Gulf moisture right here. And here's that really heavy snow band in northern Arkansas, southern Missouri. So I'm pretty confident right now that somebody in that area is going to see a decent amount of snow. Let's move it forward. It's going to break apart a little bit across Tennessee and then really regain strength over the mountains of North Carolina. Really, that's the sweet spot on the Euro for this storm. Pretty much anybody in the lower elevations around this is just going to see rain or possibly nothing at all. But the higher elevations in North Carolina definitely going to get a heaping helping of snowfall. And then if we move it on a couple more frames, it does try to show a little bit of snow, trying to hang out there for places in northern North Carolina. I would love to see that happen. I know a lot of people down there are snow starved. They want to see that white fluffy stuff. So buddy, I hope you get it. I really do. So let's look at this storm one more time in rocker mode. Like I said, I like to do this. I like to rock it back and forth just to get a full view of the entire storm from start to finish. All right, you got it now. Let's look at something pretty interesting. Okay, our storm here is going to go out and we can say bye-bye to that one. Now let's take it back to the first frame and watch the west coast. So as you can see right now, this what we're looking at is what we're looking at on the radar right now. If you look above my head, that's all that snow and rain that we were just looking at. As you can see, as we pull it forward, that gets wrung out by the mountains and it just goes away, it dissipates. But there's another big area of energy that comes ashore from the Pacific Ocean, and watch what happens here. We got some remnants, we got some leftovers. And then also watch this area right here. Keep an eye on it. All right, check it out. Convergence. Boom! Boom. Something's happening. The Euro smells it. All right, let's play it forward a little bit. Low pressure system forms right here. What's going to happen with it? Is it just going to go this way? Is it going to fizzle out? Or is it going to whoop? Yep. The 12Z Euro is the first model to show this, I believe. It shows a classic nor'easter major winter storm for the East Coast here from this two pieces of energy just meeting over here in Texas. 985 millibar low pressure system just to the south of New York City, causing possibly blizzard conditions and just a ton of snow for New England. And it just plays out perfectly. It hugs the coast perfectly, just like a nor'easter should. Now, I want to make it very clear that this is not my forecast. This is a weather model. This will probably change. But in what direction, and will it eventually correct back to where it is right now? We don't know. But I really hope the rest of the models catch on to this signal and start showing this storm, because this is going to be really fun to watch, especially in this format as we go into the future. So that's really cool. I'm very glad it's showing that very possible major winter storm for New England, the Northeast United States. That's awesome. Ooh, I'm getting pumped, boys. I'm getting pumped up over here. All right, that's enough Euro love. Let's take a look at the Canadian. Whoop. All right, starting off, you can see our little clipper right here. You can see our energy that we were looking at on radar earlier. Let's see what happens with all of that. Let's put it into motion. We've got convergence with our Gulf moisture. Here's our southern slider. Looks like there's a little bit less snow showing up on the Canadian for Missouri and Arkansas with this one, but let's see what happens as we keep going. Ooh. This one is further north, as you saw on most of the runs we've been looking at. We looked at this storm yesterday. We've looked at one run from the Euro on this already today, and most of the snow was being hoarded up in this area in the mountains of North Carolina. But the Canadian shows enough moisture north of the Appalachian Mountains. So there's kind of like a spine of the Appalachian Mountains. You've got a north side and a south side. A lot of times in situations like this, and like a lot of the models are showing, the northern side of the Appalachian Mountains don't get much at all. But this is showing enough of a northern trend and enough moisture to actually give areas of eastern Kentucky, closer to central Tennessee, southern West Virginia, a very generous amount of snow. This is actually a pretty big shift compared to what we have been seeing. And as you can see, the remnant snow showers are now more in southern Virginia rather than northern North Carolina this time. So it's basically pretty much a northern shift in the whole system, but I do believe it's only the Canadian showing that right now. And let's play it on out. Let's see if it finds our second storm. There's the convergence right here that we were talking about earlier. Now remember, the Euro turned this into a bomb of a system and made a crazy deal out of it. Let's see what the Canadian does. What? Bro, that's whack. The Canadian says, no, bro, it's gone. It converges here just like on the Euro, but instead of deepening down here and then turning north, it just kind of it just doesn't do anything, which I do believe the Euro comes out after the Canadian each day, and this is all 12Z data, so maybe the Euro has some newer data that it knows something that the Canadian doesn't. I don't know. But we'll definitely have to keep an eye on this. I'll be staying up all night watching the runs come out. And if we get that storm showing up on all the models, that's going to be fun for this channel. It'll be a great way to start off the channel. All right, so that's the Canadian. Let's take a look at the Goofus. All right, GFS, let's put her into motion. We see all the models are very confident in this area of the storm now. Yesterday, we were looking at some of them, and some of them, the convergence was happening more north than south. I believe they've all agreed now that it's going to happen a little bit more north than what we originally thought yesterday and the day before that. Let's keep on rolling. Oh, once again, this one, that's 2 out of 3. Less snow in Missouri and Arkansas than what we've been seeing. So let's keep on rolling. And okay, so this one's even weaker, and all the snow is kept in North Carolina once again. Remnant snow showers are in northern North Carolina though, so this one's a little all over the place, but it is more conventional and it's more alike the other runs that we've seen in the past. The Canadian, that 12Z Canadian data may just be an outlier. All right, let's keep it rolling. GFS goes out way far into La La Land, but let's see what it does with our storm right here. It's got it. So, okay. Let's see what happens next. And Okay, so I can say that the GFS definitely has this storm. The Canadian didn't do anything with it, but this one does get together. It doesn't have as much of a northern pull, and it's not as strong, but it is there. All we need is for the next run of the GFS to put this low pressure system right here, and the next one to put it right here, and bada bing, bada boom, we're in Snowtown, baby. Okay, so this is 171 hours away. Let's go further into La La Land, see what the GFS is showing. And there it is. Look, the GFS just disconnected it. Look, here's our storm, right? And it sends it out this way. And then a couple days later, it's like, you know what? Actually, let's take it up to New England. Now, that's a separate system, but that is cool to see. And then as we go on further out, big system for Chicago, Michigan. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's pretty interesting to look at. A giant cold trough. Look at that. If this verifies, you'll hear polar vortex all over the news again. Ugh. But yeah, this is La La Land on GFS. I can say though, looking at this, if I scroll all the way through it like this, we're going to be in a very active pattern over the next couple weeks. Snowfall map time. Let's put this into motion. Our first storm comes across and drops 8 to 10 inches of snow in northern Arkansas and southern Missouri. Got a little bit of a tongue coming out here that we didn't see in some of the other runs. So some of you in very southern Illinois maybe be getting in on a trace to a couple inches of snow. And then there's our big snow total in North Carolina, over a foot in some places, especially in the higher elevations. And those remnant snow showers, just put down a couple inches in North Carolina, but I'm sure they'll be happy with that. And let's look at our second storm here. What's it gonna, ooh. Euro say what? Oh boy, look at that. Now, you know we have to zoom in on this one, and don't you dare screenshot this right now and say that this is Ryan Hall's forecast, because damn it, no, it's not. We're looking at La La Land model output right here, okay? This is just fun and games. We hope that it verifies. We hope that it stays on this course, but I'm telling you, this right here is not going to happen exactly how you see it. Hagerstown, Maryland, around there, looks like 18.2 inches of snow. All of Maine's going to be buried in like a foot of snow. Oh, and look at this cutoff line. That is insane. So if you're in New York City, you got an inch of snow on the ground, but if you drive just a couple miles to the west, you've got 6 to 12 inches. That's a nor'easter for you. This is a beautiful map to look at. It's eye candy. I know that there's some people in southeastern Pennsylvania that are kind of like salivating at the mouth right now looking at it. But don't put your money on this. Don't put all your bets on this €1 run. If it starts showing up in more models, if in my video tomorrow we're talking about stuff like this on all 3 models, then we can get excited. Still can't get too excited because, you know, this happens all the time. It'll change 2 days out. But I hope that we just at least get to track something. All right, Canadian time, let's go. This is one of the first ones that didn't show as much snow in southern Missouri. This is the one that's, I think, on the eastern side of the track. It's a little bit further north. So let's see what that looks like for eastern Kentucky, southern West Virginia. Ooh, yeah, that's a nice one. So if you remember correctly, in earlier model runs, this was the sweet spot. And you know, in this one, these guys still get a lot of snow. But it looks to me like the Canadian places this moisture a little bit further north, and it kind of fans it out a little bit, which is something that we've seen a lot in past storms, in past southern sliders. You see, the Appalachian Mountains in this area right here really screw with forecast models' ability to forecast the weather. There's so many mountains and so much stuff going on that really affects the atmosphere. You've got alterations in wind direction. The mountains have a way to interact with low pressure systems that our supercomputers just don't 100% understand right now. They utilize moisture from the Great Lakes that the computer models sometimes can't see. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like this. I mean, like, I'm a fan of the Canadian. You guys remember the Christmas Eve, Christmas Day snowstorm that we just had? The Canadian was right on with it at this timeline. So I'm rooting for the Canadian. It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that I live right there. Yeah, it does. All right, 12Z GFS, let's go. Whoa, what? Much less snow totals in both of these areas, except for there's probably some pretty happy people with the GFS in this part of North Carolina. It's showing that bulb of some really heavy snow bands setting up on that side of North Carolina that some of the other runs aren't showing anymore. But yeah, the Appalachian Mountains get shafted here. This area doesn't get as much as what the other ones are showing, so GFS, I mean, not as strong with this storm, but let's go on out to La La Land. Let's see what's going on out here. Oh boy. So all this up here, this is 384 hours out. Like I said earlier when we were looking at the MSLP, it's fun to look at these, and it's important to look at it this far out. Teleconnections just tell us if the pattern is going to be active or not. It tells us if we're going to be able to get some cold air down from Canada. It tells us if there's enough action going on to get low pressure systems tied up in the trough. But the exact placement of snowstorms like this, you know, you can't look at that right now, but it's a pretty map to look at. And that concludes our weather model watch. Woo, that was an exciting one, bulls. I'm loving this so much, guys. Thank you to everybody who watched my first video. It's got well over 1,000 views now. I honestly didn't think it would do that well, so I'm super excited to keep doing this. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a like, that helps a lot. And I want to start a conversation down in the comments. Leave a comment and tell me what your most memorable weather event is. Like, do you remember a date at any time in your life where something extreme happened with the weather, whether it was a blizzard or some sort of flash flood, tornado, severe weather event? Let me know that date and what you were doing on that day and how it affected your life. Like, I really like those stories. I've got a couple for you, but I'm saving them for special videos. But yeah, if you have any other questions, make sure you leave those down in the comments too. And I'm going to shut up now and I'm going to head to bed. Actually, I'm going to stay up and wait for these 18Z model outputs to come out. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.